I'm David from Roland, and this is the JD-08. Now, in celebration of the 30th anniversary of our iconic JD-800, we've now added the JD-08 to our boutique series. And as you can see, it has plenty of onboard control of its 4-tone layer patches, and it's also bitimbral, meaning you can have 2 patches loaded at the same time. On top of that, as usual with the boutique series, it also comes with a very sweet onboard sequencer that even has a trigger input, and it also has a built-in audio and MIDI interface via USB-C. So let's have a listen. The JD-800 is known for having some very crunchy sounding PCM waveforms and a great multi-effect section. And the JD-08 comes with all of the original JD-800 patches and effects and more, with a total storage capacity of 256 patches. So you can easily get sounds ranging from the classic JD-800 piano to big ethereal pads to raw basses to plucks and bells all the way to something very important for the JD-800, which is really nice guitar-style distorted sounds. Let's have one more of those. Okay, so now I'd like to talk about something very special with the JD-800, which is one aspect of the real-time control. So, of course, you have all the typical parameters available directly here, but we also have the palette controls. And the palette controls are basically kind of like assignable controllers for each tone separately. So these allow me to actually control, for instance, the level of each tone separately. So if I just choose the level here, I've actually made a little drum kit with the 4 tones. So these are my sounds. So we can play these at the same time now. That's the kick level, that's the snare level, that's the whatever that is, and this is the hi-hat. So now we can actually use this as a little mixer for my drum sequence that I've already pre-programmed. So, a little mixer for my drums there, but also, of course, the JD-08 has 2 sequencers and 2 channels. So I can actually just go to my second channel here, and I have a second sound, and I can actually sequence this on top individually. I'll start with doing some simple programming. So, we have a couple of simple notes there, but I can also directly jump into real-time record. And now we have a little bit of a nicer bass line. So let's try to play around with this in different ways as well. For instance, we'll go back to the palette control, but this time with a cutoff filter, and for the new sound. I actually like this one. So I have a nicer, slightly nicer sound, I think, and I'm going to change the sequence as well. So this is a really cool thing with this sequencer because it can actually play in different directions like many of our sequences. So I can play it in reverse or even in random mode. So let's try it in reverse at first. So a completely different groove just using the same sequence but in reverse. And now let's try it in random mode, which is my favorite because it gives you constant variation with one single sequence. We can even actually record parameter changes as well into the sequencer. So that's a very cool and easy way to get nice variations using a simple sequence and some basic parameter recording. Okay, and now I'd like to take this sequence a little bit further. So what I've done here is I have a sound split into 4 different sounds with the different key ranges, and I've made one sequence using all the 4 sounds sequentially. So let's listen to what that sounds like. So you can hear the sequence going through the 4 separate sounds sequentially. But I want to, again, take this a little bit further and experiment with the sequence. So I'm gonna, at first, I'm gonna change the direction again. So I'm gonna change it into random mode. So now you will hear different bits completely randomly and just get constant variation. Okay, so this sounds a bit chaotic right now, but I'm actually gonna remedy that by using my TR-06 drum machine, which is hooked up right here. So the TR-06 has multiple trigger outputs, and of course you can use essentially any drum machine that has trigger outputs. So I'm going to use the TR-06 in this case, and we're going to hook it up with a trigger output. So I'm using actually the accent output as my trigger. We hook it up to the external clock input of the JD-08. And now when I play it back, it's gonna sound essentially the same right now, but with a bit of a shuffle. Now there's an important difference between MIDI synchronization and triggering, because MIDI synchronization is just synchronization. However, triggering is actually triggering each step of the sequencer separately. So I can be in complete control of the rhythm from my TR-06, like this. And maybe we'll just play around, you know, add some repeats. Play around with some effects, some parameter changes. And that is some of the fun you can have with the JD-08. So check it out.